Hello and welcome to the Dune Minute Podcast, your place to deep dive minute by minute into the cinematic adaptations of Frank Herbert's World of Dune. I'm one of your hosts, John.
And I'm Zach.
And we are talking about a Hunter-Seeker again today. Yesterday we ended with the Hunter-Seeker entering Paul's room and kind of making its way towards the middle of the space while Paul is looking for some kind of safety from this little drone.
Yeah. And you have to imagine I think I said it yesterday, but it's mentioned in the books that every person of noble birth, they learn about hunter seekers from a very young age.
Yeah, he knows what it is.
He knows exactly what it is and how to what his best chances of survival are.
Yeah. Which aren't that great right now because we start the minute with Paul kind of making his way into the projection of the bush that was up on the little hollow projector there for him. And then he realizes he doesn't have his shield on.
Bummer.
I want to talk some shit real quick.
About Paul?
Go on. Yeah. Paul is a dumbass. First and foremost.
He's 15.
He's still a dumbass because what's the first thing that they all do when they land on the planet? Shields on. Guess who doesn't turn his fucking shield on? Paul. Guess who doesn't have his shield on now? Paul. Guess who's got a hunter seeker right in front of his face and he can't move too fast because the hunter seeker is going to see him? Paul.
He was supposed to be in bed. Do you sleep with a shield on? Do you sleep with a shield on personally, John?
I would if I could.
From all those assassins you got after?
Yeah, all those assassins, also known as my cat, fucking having a midnight, spaz fest running across.
Take an errant claw to the face.
Yeah.
I've been there.
We've all been there. Cats, dogs, whatever, they're all, they get their midnight zoomies and
that's right.
There's nothing you can do to stop them.
But he does. He does. He moves into the hologram, which is smart, super smart. I mean, we mentioned yesterday that the hunter seeker has the T-Rex from Jurassic Park vision.
Yeah, because of the Holtzman field generator.
Yep. And it relies on motion to be able to sense its targets.
Yep.
So if he stays very still and gets into the middle of this hologram, he is largely obfuscated.
I would imagine the brightness from the hologram also
probably. If I
had to guess, a hunter seeker's video feed probably doesn't really have a good white balance and or contrast. So
we don't see a
we never
bird's eye view in this movie, do we? Because we do in Lynch's Dune. We get that. We get a view from what the operator would see. And it's super distorted. It's 1984, so it's
sure.
whatever special effects or whatever they wanted to do with it. It wasn't great.
Some intern was just sitting at a CRT with a magnet, just
probably. Yeah, but there's no way he can get to his shield generator without the thing flying towards him, detecting his motion and getting him.
Yeah, it's probably a good 6 feet or more away from him. So
yeah, at this point, not in 2 seconds though.
No.
Right after, I guess the hunter seeker detects some kind of movement from Paul, and turns really quickly.
Just turns right to him,
directly facing him, and it doesn't zoom up close to him. It doesn't go very fast, but it is in a hurried motion. It just gets a millimeter away from his eye. It's right there.
It's a couple millimeters. It's very, 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 very close. And Paul, you see him and he's trying to stay still, but he is like any person kind of doing a little bit of sway back and forth and everything.
Sure.
Because no person is an actual statue.
But this is where I think the hologram, or being in the middle of this hologram, is really helping him out here.
Yes. And he deliberately doesn't try to swat for it or to bat it out of the way for that exact reason, because, any kind of movement, he's dead. Exactly. It's just going to burrow right into his eye and then into his brain.
Yep.
You don't come back from that.
That'd be tough. That'd be real tough.
Most people don't. I mean,
but thankfully at this moment, someone opens the door So we get some other motion around the from the other side of the room. The hunter seeker goes, "Who dat?" and looks over there.
Shout out.
shout out to shout out.
Saving Paul's life.
And as soon as it like gets away from, as soon as like, I guess the hunter seeker changes its target from being Paul, which is directly in front of him, over to whoever is coming into the door, which we find out in 2 seconds is shout out Mapes.
Yep.
He reaches up, grabs it, and then just kind of walks it over to the wall or runs it over the wall and slams it against the wall.
I was going to say I read it like I saw it as he caught it as it was heading to her, and then just the continued motion of the hunter seeker caused him to kind of hit the door frame.
Well,
I didn't see it as like he caught it and then like
I think he directed it into the wall because
maybe
it would have gone to her had he not like just like subtly maybe changed its course and directed it.
Either way, he saves not only himself but also shout out in this moment. And then he opens his hand and we see the crumpled hunter seeker with like the wings collapsed and the legs collapsed and even the little needle is all like bent and stuff. It looks like a dead hummingbird in his hand almost.
Kinda, yeah. Do you have a lot of experience with dead hummingbirds in your hand?
No, but I've seen a bunch of live hummingbirds before, and like some of them are very tiny.
My real life analogy of my fruit fly infestation that I have in my home is I know what this feels like to have a dead fly in your hand. Yeah. I've clapped many of them to death.
But then Paul's just like, oh, it's a hunter seeker. The operator must be nearby. So he knows the limitations of the range because I was doing a little research. Apparently it only has an effective operating range of only about 50 meters from the drone to the operator itself, which means that, that's 150 feet. It's not very far.
Right.
So someone is hiding somewhere and it's someone else's job to figure out where that operator is. Whose job is it, Zach?
It is our boy, Thufir Hawat.
Yes, it is. Our master strategist. There we go. That's the word. Sure. He is running a full recon on the palace to figure out where this guy is.
Buddy is sweating.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's just like embarrassed or nervous or he's like hustling out there.
I mean, it's also Arrakis and it's hot as shit.
It's true.
So like if you're running around.
But yeah, he's got his he's got his handkerchief out.
His little hanky, and he's just patting his forehead. Yep.
I did that last night. I went out with a friend and it was, kind of a hot muggy day. It was a little bit cool.
As it's bound to be in Georgia in June.
Yeah, it's a little bit cooler than some days. But we were sitting outside on a patio and I had my little handkerchief and I was just dabbing my forehead off. Felt like a true Southern gentleman. This is my white corduroy too. True story.
You just need like some kind of hat.
So the camera turns from Thufir and it cuts to a busted out wall where we see a dead body laying in the wall. We clearly know this is a Harkonnen operative that's buried in the wall.
Pale.
Because he's pale and he's got a real ratty looking still suit on, I guess. I had to assume. I saw a bunch of tubes. We haven't got a close up of the Harkonnen still suits. Still suits, not steel suits.
Steel suit. I mean, I guess it would have to be some kind of still
6
suit.
Weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was in the wall for 6 weeks.
Yeah. So it's got to be something like that.
Yeah.
Did you?
I love that he's got like the trashiest looking VR goggles.
That's exactly what I put in my notes. I was like, we have Oculuses now. They look much better than this.
The production team could have just bought an Oculus and like painted it black and then like put something else on the front of it to make it not so obviously an Oculus, and it would have been fine. But instead it's like this weird like upside down V arrangement.
Yeah, it's very strange. Do you think they went to Apple to see if they could use like an Apple Pro Vision or whatever?
No, because this was made like several years before Vision Pro was.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that'd have been kind of fun. That'd have been a cool product placement there. Although I read
Apple has this weird rule though, where like
none of their stuff can be destroyed or like
none of their stuff can be destroyed, and like bad characters can't use their devices or whatever.
Right.
Which means that
all villains use Android.
Yeah, apparently, according to Apple's marketing rules.
So we get the guy in a VR headset in the wall.
Dead guy in a VR headset in the wall. He's just been like, what do you think he's been doing for those 6 weeks? Just watching a bunch of VR porn?
I would have to imagine. I mean, surely he loaded some up before he.
What else are you going to do with all that time?
I don't know. We'll see. But they start to talk about him, and Through Fear says he ran and that's when our minute ends.
Yeah.
Right there. So yeah, that's it. And before we end, I kind of skipped over some of my notes here. I want to give a comparison of the Hunter Seeker scene in the books to what we just saw in the movie.
Okay.
They did a really good job. It's largely the same.
Cool.
Yeah. I think the only difference that I noticed, there's a lot more of like explanation and talk between Shout Out Mapes and Paul afterwards.
Sure.
With her being like, oh my gosh, you saved me. And she introduces the traitor plot line to Paul at this point. She's like, I don't know if this was the person that we think is a traitor in your family, but could be. And he's like, what the fuck you talking about?
What? Yeah.
So we get that whole plot line, which is not really something we get a lot of in the movie.
No, it just kind of happens later on.
Yeah, it's just like a thing. Yeah, well, we'll talk about it. But as far as like the action goes, largely the same.
Yep.
The only major difference that I saw with what was on screen versus what was in the book was Paul was not just studying one night and got up to look at a mouse. He was actually about to go try to like sneak around the castle and explore and shit.
Got it.
And that's why he got up out of bed. But the Hunter Seeker still comes through his headboard and is expecting him to be right there in the bed so he can just like, swoop down and kill him. But he wasn't there, and that's what I had to like look around. And I don't remember a mention of a hologram or anything like that in the book. I think he just stands super, super still. Yeah. But the same thing, Shout Out Mapes comes to the door, he grabs it, slams it against the wall.
I like what they did with the hologram though, because like it's, if I can put on like a English major hat here for a second, but it's like all about the symbolism of like hiding in a bush from a real predator. Right. Like,
yeah, no,
the curtains are fucking blue. But no, it's just like, I thought it was a cool creative choice. I didn't see anything wrong with it. It made it a much better scene than him just standing still in an empty ass room. Yeah. One thing I would like to point out before we get too far away from this.
This just in. I was handed a note. I just looked through the couple pages of the Hunter Seeker in the book, and no mention of him hiding in a hologram there. So I was correct. I just had to verify myself.
Check your work on that one.
So delete your email to me.
Please stop writing an angry email.
I just checked.
One thing I wanted to point out from the movie though is, so in the scene or in the moment at the start of the minute where we see the Hunter Seeker start to close in on Paul, in the background of that, on like a shelf against the wall, we see a couple like odds and ends and trinkets and stuff. And we can see that Paul has brought that little statue of the matador and the bull that we saw in the very first few minutes in the breakfast scene, along with him. Right. And it's in his room. Nice. It's not important. I just noticed it as a background prop and was like, Look at that.
Continuity's nice.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, any other notes for this minute?
Nope. We've got more to talk about for the rest of this week. So stay tuned. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can do so by email. You can email us at duneminute@gmail.com. We're on Twitter @DuneMinute or on Instagram @TheDuneMinute.
That's right. Cool. Well, we will be back tomorrow to talk about the outcome of this Hunter Seeker and see what happens next. So
We'll see you then.
See you then.